Come on up. Just by talking with him. And it's amazing what God will do with a life that just says, God, here I am. Forgive me and use me. I'm glad you remember. Yeah, I didn't even text you.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to be here. I was supposed to be here last week, but got crossed up on my times. But here I am. I'd like to open up with a word of prayer as well. Lord, I thank you for this evening. I come to you in prayer. Praying that you bless me with your spirit to say what I need to say in your glory, Lord. And Lord, I just bless this evening. Pray that you bless this evening for everyone here. And we pray for everyone that needs you and needs to find their way to you. And it's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Well, I'm going to open up with, it's not about me. It's about what the Lord can do. He got a plan and purpose for everybody.
That's right.
And, I've been through some lot of ups and downs. And, God's glory, them come up, and I pray to keep going up. But, I started off, I was born to a single mother, which, she had some, mental problems. She couldn't function well. My grandparents, they were, pretty well off. They made well for themselves. My grandfather owned a welding company. My grandmother worked for the town, for the secretary in the office, and they made well for themselves, raised all their kids. But like I said, my mother had, or still has, she has mental issues, and so her disagreements, kind of, put us in a rough neighborhood because she couldn't hold a job, she couldn't, function well. So, put us on Section 8 welfare in the projects. So I got accustomed to that life, struggling to make ends meet, going to Salvation Army for clothes while others are getting fresh clothes. So had to deal with a lot of, picking on you and stuff like that. But then, I was just, you say, let's see, how you say it, just a victim of society, I guess you could say. Well, I just, I was outside playing one day, and, I was, searching for some kind of recognition, something to, build me up and, make me accepted in the neighborhood. And me being a white guy in a dominantly Puerto Rican and black neighborhood, you have to, go the extra mile, So one day I was on the playground playing with some friends, and, a gang came through. It's called some familiar, maybe the Latin Kings. They came through, and, all of a sudden, like, everything stopped. Everybody was playing outside and people were outside. They came through and everybody left and let them control the neighborhood pretty much. They're smoking, drinking, doing drugs and whatnot. And I'm like, that's it. That's power, that's respect. Nobody bothers them. They do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it. So that's what I strove to be. From that day forward, start sagging my pants, listen to rap music, and, learn the ways of the streets. I give it to my mom, I was rough on my mother. I had no consideration for her mind and for what she had going on. I ran over it, did what I wanted to do. But I also had my grandparents, backing her up. She would she would send me to go with my grandparents on the weekends or, school breaks, vacations and stuff like that. And try to keep me out of the streets because she seen where I was going and, I started, I started smoking at an early age. I think I was 7 or 8 years old when I started, going that way. By the time I think first time I smoked marijuana, I was probably 10 years old. By the time I was 12 years old, I was drinking on a regular basis. And it went that way for years. My body haven't even developed yet, and I'm already breaking it down. But I think it's cool. I think it's the way it's supposed to be. Because that's what's accepted. That's how you get, ahead. You gotta prove you're the baddest person. You gotta prove you're the toughest guy and do what you want when you want to do, no matter who likes it or not. Well, I said one of the blessings coming up was definitely my grandparents because my grandparents tried to teach me the right way, while I was over there. Then, my mom went to the hospital a few times when I was growing up. She had to stay a week, a month or something like that, a couple months or whatever. And I would always stay with my grandparents. So, when I go with my grandparents, I would tighten up, because I know they don't play, And they would discipline me. So, but they also spoiled me a little more, They had cable TV, all them little luxuries and stuff. So, I enjoyed it there, but yet, I was addicted to the street life. And I said, they would tighten me up a little bit. Then I go back to school and, go back in the streets and doing what I do out there. And, as years went by, like, my grandparents knew, like, there was something going on, but they never knew the extent to it. And then, they told me that a few years ago, like, when I told them everything I went through, they had no idea, But I'll go back to when I was coming up, like I said, by the time I was 12 years old, I was drinking on a regular basis. I was out there in the streets hard. I was, fighting in the streets. I was, trying to hustle a little bit, sell drugs. I was trying to do little things to get ahead, but I didn't put 100% into it, because I was back and forth between my grandparents but I still wanted to live that lifestyle. But then, after I grew up, so like I said, I was drinking, smoking, doing drugs up until probably, I'm gonna say 22, 23, somewhere around there. And one of my biggest accomplishments in that time period was, graduating high school. I did manage to do that, but I had a lot of, it was a battle to do that because, when I was living in the projects, I finally built up a little reputation. People wouldn't mess with me. I had to take a few lumps and bumps and bruises, but I got to where I wanted to be there pretty much. But then like my mother wanted to move me out of the project. She wanted to go into the country. So we got a house, in the country, and I switched schools and everything. But the people found out where I came from and wanted to test me and try me. I always call them like the uppity people, and then preppy people, I always had everything given to them, and I had to, struggle to get mine, beside my grandparents, I just, like I said, had to struggle to fit in and struggle to get this, and You know, I don't have all the nice new clothes like they have. So, you know, they would try me, pick on me, and you know, try to bring the streets out of me to see how far I would go. So I kept on having battles in school, you know, fighting a little bit here and there, and destruction of property because people run their mouth and I'll go slam the door, leave the class or something. And, you know, I was a wreck, you know. I mean, between my mother, between the lifestyle I wanted to live, between the people picking on me, I didn't really care. I was just like, you know, I mean, this is what I got to live for. You know, whatever comes with it, man. Like I said, just sometimes I wanted to die. You know, sometimes I wanted to live to my highest potential. Sometimes, like I said, I go back to wanting to die again, and it's just like it was a constant battle. And you know, like, but like, you know, I was introduced to like the Catholic Church when I was younger with my grandparents, but you know, I never took time to pay attention to none of that. You know, just like, you know, I didn't want anything that, you know, I didn't want anything to do with anything that had to do with, you know, trying to live right. You know, I didn't want nothing to do with it. But I said, you know, okay, like, you know, time went by and, you know, I'm still, you know, living my life, going to school. But yeah, I'm basically terrorizing the school. My eighth grade year was like so bad that my mother asked them if I could repeat the year since I did so bad to try to work on my education. They said no, they sent me to high school. And I got there and same thing. You know, like I said, people were picking on me, picking on me. And finally, you know, I had to get in a fight one day with a couple of seniors that were picking on me. After that, you know, I started getting a little bit of respect, you know. And then, you know, my mother got up with a guy and they got married and then we went to move again, you know, deeper in the country, I guess you could say. And the same thing started again. You know, I started off getting a couple of little friends, and I guess you could say like, you know, the girls kind of liked me a little bit, so I guess people got jealous and they started trying to put me down, you know, and trying to like make me look bad in front of everybody. So they started picking on me again, and finally, like, you know, I did the same thing at that school. Started being started having a destructive path to that school, you know. And then finally, one day I had bought a little, you know, keychain switchblade. You know, it's like a little keychain thing. And this was right about the time of Columbine High when all that stuff was going on. So, you know, it's like zero tolerance for anything. And I just had it in my pocket one day, and you know, I was messing around with my friend, you know, and I pulled it out and showed it to him. And the teacher walked by and saw it, and you know, brought me to the office. And then with my previous record, they threw me out of school. You know, I got thrown out, and now I'm really going hard. You know, like, you know, I'm sleeping all day, out all night. You know, driving with people without license, going here, going there, going all over the place. You know, I mean, so one day you get killed, you know, and then kill somebody else and so on. And but like that just kept on going, and you know, kept on trying to prove myself, Then my mother, you know, she always tried to get me committed to the hospital because she always thought I had something wrong with me. You know, so, you know, one evening, you know, I don't know, I went to a friend's house and they picked me up and was going home, and my mother said I was depressed or something, and you know, my stepfather, he was saying something, and there was a glass bottle in the back. I saw I bust your head with this bottle. And next thing I know, they took me to the hospital, tried to get me committed, and then, you know, and that was like right after I got kicked out of school. And so the doctor that checked me out said it'd be, you know, probably a good idea to get some new scenery or some kind of therapeutic. So we decided to take a trip, and man, my stepfather at the time, he liked old historic places. He was a fanatic on history. So he wanted to see like the places of the Civil War and stuff like that. So our original plan was just go to Virginia, I think Fredericksburg, around that area. And so I went there, and then, you know, decided to go a little further. I was always a big Michael Jordan fan, you know, and you know, I always wanted to come to North Carolina, you know. And when I was younger, when the question came up of what school you wanted to go to, it was always like UNC, you know. So, but like I said, that quickly turned. I quickly went away from that. But so we ended up coming down here and stayed in Rocky Mount of all places. I think Gold Rock or Rocky Mount was one of the two places. And you know, we liked it a little bit. I was like, yeah, it's a nice place to visit, but you know, I don't know if I want to move down here, you know. But actually that didn't come up at that time. But after we went back to Connecticut, it was about maybe a month later. My parents said, we were thinking about moving down to North Carolina. I was like, I don't know about all that, you know. I mean, I got all my friends here, you know, what friends I do have. So I'm like, you know, had a little girlfriend and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't want to go down there. You know what I mean? What am I gonna do down there? And then I got thinking about it. And I said, you know, might as well. So I went on. So we came and moved down here, and you know, first thing I did, I found somebody that got high. So, and that was the first thing I was looking for. So somebody to get high with, somewhere to get high, drunk, something. And I did, and it just so happened like the people I moved next door to, they were like, you know, some of the biggest people that dealt with this stuff around. So fit right in. I said, it must be heaven. Forgive me. You know, but I was like, yeah. So I got deeper in that, as time kept on, At this time all I did was, smoke some marijuana, drink some liquor, and I did that type of stuff. Up in Connecticut, I tried harder stuff like once or twice, but I didn't know what I was looking for at the time, and it never bothered me in that way. So I came down here and, like I said, fit in with everybody. And then, my grandparents told me if I go back to school and graduate, they'll buy me a car. I said, might as well. So I went back. At first it was the same thing. Like I didn't really care about my grades. It was just a place to, associate with other people and try to prove I was the bad guy once again. And time went by, and I said, we drink every weekend. And like I said, 14, 15. Actually, at this time I was 16 years old. When I moved down here, I was 16. But we drink every weekend, sometimes during the week. But make a long story short, I finally graduated. By the grace of God, I graduated. I mean, I don't know, like I said, while I didn't care about what was going on, like it didn't matter. But when it came time, well, I started looking around and seeing all my friends graduating. They leaving school, some getting thrown out, some are graduating. And I'm getting big. I was like 19 years old, and I'm like, I'm getting old, and I'm still in school. I'm not probably looking dumb. So it's like, okay, let me tighten up and go ahead and get my grades right. So I did. I got my grades right, brought them up, and finally graduated. That was like, in this day and time, like that was like the biggest joy I had when I walked across that stage to graduate. You know, I'm like couldn't take the smile off my face. You know, couldn't. You know, I was like happiest I'd ever been because it's the biggest accomplishment I ever made. And then, but of course, after graduation, we had a big old party, got drunk, got high, and all this stuff. And after that, you know, it's like the choice: do you go to college or or what? I chose the or what. So I automatically started selling drugs. You know, and started selling marijuana. You know, the money came too slow. You know, so but I like to smoke marijuana, so I had to keep that. And then so I started selling a little bit of cocaine, and then you know I like to get high, so I started doing that. So once I started doing that, I gotta have something else, so I started selling crack. Okay, so time went by, and I'm starting to put a little bit of crack in with my weed. You know, 'cause I started putting cocaine in with the weed, and, you know, doing like that, and then a person suggested putting some crack in the crack in the weed, so I started doing that. And then it came to the point where I was just putting crack on tobacco and smoking it like that. Then, but you know, I was scared to hit it straight up, but like you know, a couple of my friends did it, you know, and like, they were acting all crazy over it, and I was like, you know, I'm like, what's the big hype about it? So I tried it, you know, and it was whatever. I ain't really care for it too much. And then there was another time further on down the road I tried it again, but it didn't mess with me. Then one time, the last time I experimented with it, it got me. I got the full effect that time, and I was off to the races then. So I went from making pretty decent money to, well, I like to say like I became my best customer, put it that way. You know, and that was the next battle of my life you know, was buying drugs to sell them, but do them before the night's over with. So I would buy a nice little amount, you know, and like man, I can make a whole lot of money tonight, but before the night's even over, it's gone. And I'm broker than before. Even owe the dope man some money now. 'Cause I gotta get some more. You know, so it's like now I'm battling with this. You know, I'm working, holding down a job just barely, and you know, I gotta explain why I don't have some. Cause I smoked cigarettes at the time, you know, so on. And I gotta explain through the week why I'm bumming cigarettes off somewhere, and I just got paid yesterday. You know, so it's like, you know, I gotta wait the whole week to get a little bit of money, and then as soon as I get some money, I'm gonna make a lot of money tonight. I get the stuff and it's gone before the night's over with. And then it's like, then at the end of the night when everything's gone, you're looking in the mirror like, I did it again. And then it's like, you know, at this time, you know, I'm not gonna lie, cause like there was a lot of thrill in, you know, chasing it. You know, like I said, I know Rocky Mountain real well, all the projects real well. Cause I got up with all the big dope dealers, all the people, all the gangs. Because that's another thing I did when I came down here after I graduated. Because in order to, you know, get in the selling drugs, you get, you know, you go into the gangs. So I picked right back up where I was when I was younger. You know, I started running around with the gang called the Bloods. I started going around with them and going all through Rocky Mountain, you know, and they always say, man, you a white boy, you crazy. You know, you going around here, man, like you own the place, but man, really? Like I said, I didn't care whether I lived or died, so I didn't care where I go. I went, you know, like, I don't know, just over, like I said, I don't know why, you know. I believe, like, I know why now, because I see the bigger picture now. You know, the devil wanted to take me out, because he knew later on down the road he had a plan for me. You know, so, like I said, I've been shot at, you know, I've been through a bunch of crazy stuff. I had dope dealers putting guns in my face. You know, you know, I was, striving to get a gun. You know, I never did. By the grace of God, I never got my hands on one, cause I would have used it back then. You know, and just to get the name, the reputation. You know, and you know, but again, you know, we've kind of run out a little time, so I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter. Like I said, the story goes on and on and on. but yeah, throughout this time, I was working at this little restaurant called the Grands. It's like a little soul food restaurant. I don't know, it was in Tarboro, and you know, the woman that owned it, she's the one. She's Virginia, the one that said had cancer and died right here recently. You know, she tried to get me in church. You know, she prayed for me, prayed with me. You know, brought me to Bible studies on Wednesday evening. But like, as soon as I get home, I forget about it. You know, but something was catching my attention though, cause I like hearing it. It was something about, like, you know, I was interested. But yet, as soon as I left the church and got back home, it was like, man, I gotta get high, man. I gotta get drunk. And like I said, I worked there for about 3 years, I believe. And like I said, she kept on trying to get me in church, but you know, I wanted to, but at the same time, I couldn't let go of what I was doing. And finally, she had to fire me because, you know, I would stay up all night. You know, try to get a couple hours of sleep. Cause I had to be there 7 in the morning at this time, and I go to sleep, wake up, it's like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing now. But it happened one too many times. She gave me countless chances, you know, to get right. And but like I said, one day we had a big catering going on, and I did the same stunt, and said, I'm gonna let you go. I ain't gonna lie, I cried when I lost the job. But then, like I said, then I got on unemployment, you know, bounced from little job to job. And then, you know, finally, you know, as time go by, I'm getting deeper and deeper in crack addiction. You know, and like, I finally got to the point where I did not want to live anymore. Really, I was really at the breaking point. You know, because it's like so many times, you know, I started getting in trouble, you know, behind drugs. You know, like, actually the police tried to catch me. They kept on trying to catch me with drugs and try to get me snitched, trying to get me do this and do that. But like, I'd always find a way to mess them out of the charge, you know. I tell them I help them and then don't help them, and so they started getting me. You know, they started pulling me over every chance they got, started harassing me, and so on. And you know, finally I got up with a guy one time, and he was writing out bad checks, and he told me, you know, he did some work for somebody, and you know, me, I'm trying to help him out at this time, and but like, you know, deep inside I knew what was going on. I like to tell people, you know, I didn't know what was going on, but something told me about it. If something backfired, fall on him anyway. But it ended up falling on me, and he actually he lived next door to a preacher of the Rock Church in Princeville, and it actually ended up being his checkbook, and see, like, with me going and cashing the check, he claimed he didn't have an ID, so I cashed the check for him. Me going to cash the check, it put a bunch of charges on me. It put you know, forgery, uttery, it put breaking and a lot of stuff, cause he broke in the preacher man, stole the checkbook and a bunch of stuff out of his house. So, but either way, I had to pay the courts off. Actually, first I got a lawyer for it, and I said I couldn't pay him, cause as soon as I get some money in my hand, I go to dope man. I'm getting high, and do all my money up again, And finally, I get to a point where no matter what I do, when I get some money on, I can't keep it. And my mother started sending me money, to hold me down till I found another job. But I spent her money on drugs, and then I was faced with the decision, jail or rehab, jail or rehab. So I went to rehab, and that's where I gave my life to the Lord. Was in rehab, but then while I was in there, I broke the one rule that you don't break in there. I got in a relationship with a female in there, and after I got out of there, like I said, I gave my life to the Lord, but then after that, I still straddled on being a tough guy, like, cause this one thing I will never forget though. It was in the detox section of the rehab center, and like a man came in, a couple men came in from another church in Greenville. Man, this guy sung "Jesus Loves Me." Not the Jesus Loves Me because the Bible told me so. There was another one. Like, man, them words flooded through my body. I started crying. I started sweating. Man, I don't know what happened to me right then. You know what I mean? But something changed. It was like, man, like I said, I'm talking about soaking wet tears just coming down my face, because it let me know that no matter what I went through, whatever somebody loved me.
That's right.
God, that's crazy.
That's right.
Man,
Yeah.
I started broke down, started crying. And after that, like I didn't get my life right then, but later on, when I got to the main facility in there, that's when we had a church service, and I gave my life to the Lord. And but that wasn't the end. I got back out and I chased that girl down. I went from smoking crack. I didn't do that anymore, but when I got with her, I got up in deeper than I ever been in my life. Okay, her, to make that story short, okay, she like my counselor at rehab, because they knew what was going on and they had that policy of no relationship. But my counselor told me, if you get up with her, you're gonna get more than what you bargained for. Because counselor got the records of everything, what they've been through in their life and the rap sheet, and he told me, you're gonna be in for way more than what you bargained for. I said, man, she's beautiful and this and that. You can't tell me what's gonna happen to me. I got this, And sure enough, when I got out, she came to pick me up one night, and she claimed she was going to meetings, and I was actually doing good. I got out. I got 30 days clean in the program, and then got 2 jobs again. I was working 2 jobs, and I was getting my life back on track. Then one night she says, I'm riding around, I got time to come and get you. Cause I had been talking to her and wanted to go back down, cause she lived in Wilmington. So I ended up going down there with her and just running wild, crazy down there. I started robbing stores down there with her and another guy from rehab. And we all got together again, but making sure again that relationship got me thrown in prison. I got in a high-speed chase with the police and robbed the store. And jail is where unfortunately, it had to go that way, but that was my biggest blessing because it opened my eyes up to everything. That's when I had time to really sit down for a long period of time and really dwell and think about what was going on. You know, I mean, God showed. And then another thing, when I gave my life to the Lord and I tried to go back and get high again, it wasn't the same. It's like He put a block on it. Like I used to, do the stuff and have a good time, and just enjoy myself until I started, getting suicidal thoughts where I was stuck in an addiction that I couldn't get out of. I was so stuck in it that the only way out I saw was death. But then, I lost my train of thought. Right? But either way, so I'm in jail though, and I'm like, the police always fill your head with a bunch of stuff like, you're going away for a long time now. You're going away for a long time. And like, so, well, maybe so. But either way, like I said, I was about to lose my mind for a minute though, because I was thinking about, man, I'm not getting out. Nobody's gonna get me out. I burned all my bridges along the way. Nobody wanted anything to do with me. I didn't have anything left. Nothing at all left. I didn't have, excuse me. When I went to jail, I had nothing but the outfit I had on. And I robbed the store to get the money to get that. And by the time I went to jail, that was all ragged and tore up. And like, I didn't have any money. I didn't have anything. I had nothing but an empty wallet with my driver's license. And that was it. But, I said, when I got in there, I was about to lose my mind. I picked up a Daily Bread book and I started reading that. I started realizing a bunch of things. Like, I started opening my eyes up to where, I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know the extent of it. Now, now I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to die. I want to, I want to live for God. I want to do righteous. I want to do right. So I got up with some other guys, and then we started going over Bible lessons, Bible studies, doing this, and doing. I said Bible lessons, and we get certificates for it later. So I started in the New Testament, and like I would go to church services when I finally got to prison and stuff like that, and it was like amazing, just clapping, giving your hands to God, and just. It's just awesome. People will come up to me in prison like, yeah, you really inspired me in there. You up there clapping and everything. Like, you've been a blessing to me, man. I'm like, yeah, appreciate it, and keep on going. And, but like I said, through it all, I always wonder how I made it. And, God, through Jesus' mercy, God's mercy through Jesus Christ, like He had His hands on me the whole time, and I was blind to see it. And when I finally realized it and looked at it for what it was, man, it was amazing. I look back and like, this night I should have been dead. Now I know who had me. This time I should have been dead. I know who had me. And it's like, I started thinking about it, like, I gotta keep going forward. But after I got out of prison, I started going to AA meetings. There was an elder in prison who told me, and when I get out, to go to AA meetings. So I started going to AA meetings, and then, I started working on how to live my life sober and still, have fun, live that way. But I was like, when I got out of church, I hate to admit it, but I backslid when I got out of prison, because I started getting a little more freedom. I was going to church, but I still part of me wanted to, the things I couldn't do when I was getting high, I wanted to start doing because I had money, I had time to do them. So I would go to the clubs and to the bars and to this. I didn't drink or smoke, or do anything, but I would go there, and then Sunday morning be at church. After a whole night of partying, go to church. So I was becoming a huge hypocrite, you know, and but I was getting trapped up. I wanted like a relationship, but I wasn't getting it. I kept on getting let down. I wanted a woman in my life, you know, and I kept on getting let down by relationships and relationships and relationships, and so I backslid and I was getting into rap music, you know, and because I used to be in rap music all my life, and I was rapping before I went to jail, and so I started rapping again, and I started living when I was rapping, and one thing I'm ashamed of, and I don't even want to say it, but I mean I got to say it because it shows how fast, if you're not careful, you can fall back real fast. I got. I started selling marijuana again. I tried to replace my emptiness with money, but God didn't let it happen. I didn't make any money off it. I lost money off it, and it showed me that's not the way you're gonna go. That's not the way I'm gonna allow you to go. Then finally, my wife come into play. You know, she's been one of the biggest blessings in my life. You know, she asked me one day, you know, what do you want in life? This is before we even thought about a relationship. You know, she asked me like, what do you want in life? I said, I want a wife, I want a family, I want kids, I want this and that. She said, you know what, you need to go back to your first love. I said, first love? What, my first girlfriend? What are you talking about? I said, nah, Jesus. Then it clicked. I said, you know what, you're right. And I started watching her. You know, she didn't smoke, she don't drink, she don't party, she don't do none of that stuff. I said, that's the woman I'm looking for right there. But you know, circumstances, I wasn't too sure. But the more we talked, the more we, you know, she opened my eyes up again. She brought me back to the Lord. Started going to church again, and you know, I think we've been together about 3 years now, and you know, it's just been a steady climb uphill, and now, you know, like my favorite story in the Bible, you know, I've been reading over lately. Acts is probably one of my favorite chapters. It's the conversion from Saul to Paul. You know, like, you know, if he could turn Saul into Paul from a murderer and slaughter of Christians to a saint, I mean, I look at that example from my life. I went from this way to where I'm at now, and like now all I want to do is live for the Lord. I mean, whatever I could do to bring a soul to Christ, I got to do it. You know, because like it says, you know, every soul that gets saved, it hides a multitude of sins. I think it's in James, I believe. I think it's James or Timothy. It's one of them books. And you know, I mean, you know, we all sin, we all gonna fall short, but it's just remembering who has us and pick back up and keep going forward with the plan God's got for you. Because the devil's gonna try to knock you off your feet. He tried hard. He's on the job 24/7. And the more you do for the Lord, he don't like it. He's gonna try. But as long as you know where to turn, don't forget God's there. Jesus is there, waiting with his arms open to catch you every time you fall and pick you back up and make you stronger than before.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm learning. And God's grace is awesome.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ is awesome.
That's right.
That's what I've learned over the years. And don't forget, if somebody didn't open their mouth up to me and tell me about the Lord, I wouldn't know. You know. And sometimes I wonder why I went through what I went through. Everybody's got a story.
Yeah.
Moses, everybody, you know, David, everybody, Solomon, everybody goes through something. You know, I mean, Jesus, he went through it all. You know, and you know, I had to go through what I had to go through to get where I'm at now. That's how I feel.